Ludo, is a board game for 2 to 4 players, in which the players race their 4 tokens from start to finish according to die rolls. Like other cross and circle games, Ludo is derived from the Indian game Pachisi, but simpler. The game and its variants are popular in many countries and under various names. History: Pachisi originated in India by the 6th century. The earliest evidence of this game in India is the depiction of boards on the caves of Ajanta. This game was played by the Mughal emperors of India. A notable example being that of Akbar. Variations of the game made it to England during the late 19th century. One which appeared around 1896 under the name of Ludo was then successfully patented. Nomenclature: in North America, the game is sold under the brand name Pachisi. Variations of the game are sold under the brand names Sorry, Aggravation, and Trouble. In Germany, this game is called Mensche Currency Rgere dich nicht, which means man, don't get irritated, and has equivalent names in Dutch, Croatian, Serbian, Bulgarian, Russian, Slovak, Slovene, and Polish, where it is more commonly referred to as Kyazik. In Greece, this game is called I to the first I 1/2 I to the first I. Grinia is referring to typical player behavior. In Bulgaria, this game is known as a THTH micron NTH micron NNSHN Euro THTHN TH 3/4 TH squared TH micron NTH micron, Ni se Sardichovk. In Czech, it's called Oliveja e Nezlobce. In Vietnam, it is called Kaka and Ga plus or minus A. In Sweden it is known as Fia, a name derived from the Latin word fiat which means so be it. Common variations on the name are Fia Spell, and Fia Mednuff. In Denmark and Norway though, the game is known as Ludo. Ludo board. Special areas of the Ludo board are typically colored bright yellow, green, red, and blue. Each player is assigned a color and has 4 tokens of matching color. The board is normally square with a cross-shaped game track, with each arm of the cross consisting of 3 columns of squarizo Euro usually 6 squares per column. The middle columns usually have 5 squares colored, and these represent a player's home column. A 6th colored square not on the home column is a player's starting square. At the center of the board is a large finishing square often composed of triangles in the 4 colors atop the player's home column Euro thus forming arrows pointing to the finish. Rules: Overview: 2, 3, or 4 may play. At the beginning of the game, each player's tokens are out of play and staged in one of the large corner areas of the board in the player's color. When able to, the players will enter their tokens one per time on their respective starting squares, and proceed to race them clockwise around the board along the game track. When reaching the square below the home column, the player continues by racing tokens up the column to the finish square. The rolls of a cube die control the swiftness of the tokens, and entry to the finish square requires a precise roll from the player. The first to bring all their tokens to the finish wins the game. The others often continue play to determine 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers. Rolls of the die: each player rolls the die, the highest roller begins the game. The players alternate turns in a clockwise direction. To enter a token into active play from his staging area to his starting square, a player must roll a 6. If the player has no tokens yet in play and does not roll a 6, the turn passes to the next player. Once a player has 1 or more tokens in play, he selects a token and moves it forward along the track the number of squares indicated by the die roll. If a player rolls a 6 he may choose to advance a token already in play, or alternatively, he may enter another of his tokens into active play. The rolling of a 6 earns the player an additional roll in the turn. If the additional roll results in a 6 again, the player earns an additional bonus roll. If the 3rd roll is also a 6, the player may not move a token and the turn immediately passes to the next player. Players must always move a token according to the die value rolled, and if no move is possible, pass their turn to the next. A player may not end his move on a square he already occupies. If the advance of a token finishes on a square occupied by an opponent's token, the opponent token is returned to its owner's yard. the return token may only be re-entered into play when the owner again rolls a 6. Variations. To get a game started faster, some house rules allow a player with no pieces on the board to bring their first piece into play on any roll, on a 1 or a 6, or allow multiple tries to roll a 6. If a piece lands on the same space as the another piece of the same color, the moved piece must take the preceding space. If a player's piece lands on another of their own pieces, they are doubled and form a block, which cannot be passed by any opponent's pieces. Or in some variations may only be passed by rolling a 6 or 1. Doubled pieces may move half the number if an even number is thrown. A doubled piece may capture another doubled piece. A board may have only 4 spaces in each home column. All 4 of a player's pieces must finish in these spaces for the player to have finished the game. To speed the game up, extra turns or bonus moves can be awarded capturing a piece or getting a piece home. These may grant passage past a block. In Denmark and some other countries the board has 8 spaces marked with a globe and 8 with a star. The globes are safe spaces where a piece cannot be captured. The exception is that a player who has not yet entered all pieces, can always enter a piece on a roll of 6. If the entry space is occupied by another player's piece, that piece is captured. Otherwise the entry spaces work like the other globe spaces. A piece which would have landed on a star instead moves to the next star. In some parts of Africa the following rules are reportedly played: a doubled block also blocks trailing pieces of the player who created the block, or blocks them unless they roll the exact number to land on the block. Additionally, the doubled block cannot move forward until the block that landed upon it moves off again. This reduces the tactical advantage of a block and makes the game more interesting. If the 2 players sitting opposite are partners, the players can exchange numbers. There are 4 safety squares on the board, like castle squares in Pachisi, as well as the safe home squares, where a piece may able to move forwards or backwards and start their turn before previous player finishes. A piece landing on a square with an opponent's piece not only sends the opponent piece back to the starting area but also sends the landing piece to its home square. A player cannot move their first piece into the home column unless they have captured at least one piece of any of the opponents. In popular culture, in 1967 Ivor Cutler recorded an album titled Ludo with Beatles producer George Martin. In the Requiem episode of The Avengers, John Steed claims that his cousin Demon Desmond is the world Ludo champion. In the music video for the song The Name of the Game by the Swedish pop group ABBA, the 4 members of the group are shown playing Fierspel. In the 1951 novel The Hive by Camillo Josa copyright Sela, the character Ventura asks to borrow the Ludo from Do plus or minus Acelia, the proprietress of a house of assignations. See also, cross and circle games, references. Bibliography. External links: Pachisi, the online guide to traditional games.